Welcome to the Wealth Conversation podcast. This podcast is for you if you believe that wealth is so much more than just money. At the Wealth Conversation, we believe that wealth encompasses our physical, spiritual, mental, social, and financial well-being. I'm your host, Tsitsi Mutiti, and I will be having conversations with financial experts and people just like you and me who are on the journey to building lasting generational wealth. If this resonates with you, then I encourage you to hit the subscribe button so you get notifications of when our next episode will go live. For now, let's get into this week's conversation. Welcome to Season 3 of the Wealth Conversation podcast. I am so excited to have you here with us, and thank you so much for clicking on the link to this podcast. As you know, I believe that wealth is so much more than just money. So in this season, I will be talking to guests about all areas of wealth, including our physical, mental, spiritual, social, and financial well-being, because as you know, I believe that wealth is so much more than just money. Now, if this resonates with you, please hit that subscribe button, and please feel free to share all the episodes that you like with friends, family, colleagues. My aim for producing this podcast is that we are all comfortable about talking about all areas of the wealth creation journey. Today is a slightly different episode because it's just me, and I will be talking about the principles that I believe are important when it comes to the wealth creation journey. And I guess you could call them the 3 C's. You'll find that I do like to keep things simple. The number 3 is my favorite number. It's easier for me to remember 3 things. So these principles are commitment, compounding, and consistency. And I'll be breaking those down individually. I'll also be using examples that aren't really related to finance because I believe that, as I've said, wealth is so much more than that, just money. And as you know, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So our habits and our mindset impact how we manage our money. They also impact how we go to the gym, how we deal with our health, how we deal with people in our circle, how we deal with people who we work with. So I thought it would be interesting to show you how consistency, compounding, and commitment show up in our everyday lives and how they also show up when it comes to money. So let's look at commitment. What is commitment? The wealth creation journey starts with you making a commitment to a particular goal. It could be a savings goal. It could be a goal to purchase something, for example, a property. It could be a goal about your future self when you retire, the type of retirement you would like, and that will require that you have saved a lump sum of money and contributed to your pension over a period of time. But the first thing is to commit. What is your goal? What are you working towards? Why are you waking up every day and going to work? Why are you waking up every day and running your business? Because without commitment, it is very, very difficult to go through those hard times. And sometimes it's also, we need that commitment so we can just get over the hurdles that are in our way. I started going to the gym about 2 years ago consistently. And I remember the first couple of weeks, I started in the winter time, and I would wake up, it was dark. I was going to the 6 a.m. class. So I'm waking up just after 5 a.m. It's dark, it's cold. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing up so early? Why have I chosen the 6 a.m. class? Anyway, I get myself ready, get into the car. It's dark outside, and then drive to the exercise class. And in my second week of going to the exercise classes, I remember halfway through a session, I ended up feeling very lightheaded. I was feeling lightheaded. I was struggling to breathe. I had to go and grab my inhaler and take a couple of puffs of the inhaler. And then I went and sat down for 5 minutes. And as I sat down for 5 minutes, I'm trying to catch my breath. And in my head, all that I could hear was the chatter saying, why are you here? You know, you're not fit enough to be here. This isn't working. Look at you. You're almost out of breath. And that was a really hard part. Now, I could have chosen to stop there and then. But what I did is I caught my breath and I went back. And I went back and continued the class and finished the class. And since then, I've been waking up at 5 a.m. and going to the 6 a.m. classes, and I am enjoying every single minute of those classes. I no longer use my inhaler because after that incident, what I used to do was take the inhaler before the class to try and help myself not go through the shortness of breath. Now I don't need my inhaler. Now I'm feeling much fitter. A lot of people who haven't seen me in a long time are asking me, what are you doing? You've lost so much weight. But for me, that was a pivotal point that if I hadn't pushed through what happened to me in that session, I would not be where I am now in terms of my fitness and health goals. And it's the same with money. There are times, and I've experienced this as well, where we have a savings goal, for example, and you want to save, say, £1,000, and you're saving a small amount of money every month or as and when, and then something happens. Maybe the car breaks down. Maybe you need a new set of tires. Or maybe someone calls you, they need some financial assistance, and you take some money out of your savings. Or something happens in terms of your income and you can't keep up the momentum of the savings. If that's ever happened to you, or if you're going through that right now, I would urge you to just stay committed to the goal. Commitment really helps you to push through those humps in the road. It helps you to push through any negativity, any doubt that might come along the way. And if you can get through that, then you can definitely start supercharging and moving quickly towards whatever your goals are. So I would say that, commitment isn't just a feeling. It is a vow to yourself. It's a vow to your goals. It is a vow to your future self. And so I'd like you to just take a moment and think about one goal that you have for your future self. How committed are you to that goal? And what are the things you would need to put in place to help you get over or get through some of those tough times that will come along? And I think it's really important for us to be very honest with ourselves and realize that in every journey, there will be roadblocks, there might be roundabouts that we have to go through. We might get off on the wrong exit at times, but we can always work our way back. And if we are really truly committed to our goals, it's easy to course correct. It may take you a bit longer, but you'll still be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So that's the first C, commitment. The second C is compounding. Now, you may have heard the famous saying by Einstein, which is that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. And he said that he who understands compounding will earn it, but he who doesn't understand compounding will pay it. So compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. If you understand compounding, you will earn it. If you don't understand how compounding works, you will be the one paying it. And when it comes to compounding, you really want to be in the earning side of compounding. So let me break it down for you. Compounding shows up for a lot of us in our money journey when it comes to interest that we get on savings at the bank, interest that we get on our investments, which tends to show up as dividends. It also shows up in debt. So that's the interest that we pay on our loans, our credit cards, and mortgages, right? And that's when we're paying it. When we are earning interest, it's because we're saving. And so we want to try and be on the earning side as much as possible. It's okay to be on either side, but you want to be more on the earning side of interest than paying the interest. So with compounding, it is an invisible force. It's that invisible force that makes your commitment become a reality. So if you think about that interest that you're earning in the bank, you're not actually making an effort to earn that interest except holding the money in that bank account. And so this invisible force is there adding to your bank balance every month or at the end of the year. A way I can illustrate this is if you think about learning a new language. Taking 10 minutes a day to learn a new language, parts of a new language over time means by the end of 12 months, you become more fluent than when you started. You're understanding the language a lot more. You can actually have conversations, and that's by doing a simple thing every day. But that simple thing is adding to what you're doing the next day and the next day. Another way to think about compounding is when you plant a seed, maybe an apple tree, for example. I love apples. So you plant the seed for an apple tree. What do you have to do for that seed to germinate? It's underground. It's in the darkness. You're feeding it fertilizer, you're also pouring water, and you're giving it time. I think the secret ingredient to compounding is actually time. The longer you allow for something to grow, for something to take root, the stronger it will be, the more you will get out of it. So it's the same with money in the bank. The more you leave it earning interest, the more you will get at the end of that period. And back to the analogy of the fruit tree, our apple tree, right? Over the months and over the years, it germinates, it starts coming out of the ground, the trunk becomes stronger and thicker, it's producing leaves and flowers, and it's growing taller and taller and taller. And all of that are the benefits of compounding, the results of compounding, of all the effort and energy that's been used and the food that's been given to that seed for it to produce this tree. And then suddenly one day you now have the fruit, the apple fruit, and that's your payment for being patient, for being consistent, which we'll get to next, and for just keeping on feeding that tree, watering that tree, nurturing that tree. And it's exactly the same with wealth. Whether you're just saving in a bank account or whether you're building a business, a small business, which you're hoping to grow into something bigger, those daily efforts that you're putting in to your business or your networks over time will produce something that you could not have done on day one, and will probably give you greater returns than you had ever imagined. So compounding for me is really a really secret ingredient, and it requires patience, it requires time, and it requires your commitment to your end goal. The last ingredient is consistency. And with consistency, you are supercharging your compounding. You are taking whatever you're working on to the next level because you are being consistent. And if I go back to my experience with my exercise class, I have been going 3 times a week for the last 2 years at 6 a.m. to these exercise classes. And I remember, in the first 2 weeks, I'm sort of short of breath, about to faint, wondering what I'm doing there, and lifting small 3 kg dumbbells, when I'm doing my bicep curls. And now I can lift 7.5 kgs. I can go even higher if I feel like it on the day. Obviously, I have to listen to my body, but that's all been the result of consistency, pushing through those tough times, and getting the benefits of the compounding for my body. How does consistency show up when it comes to our money? Consistency, I think, shows up the most when we have a savings goal. And if you are putting aside money every month or every week or every other month, over time, it's you've now got a larger balance than the amount that you've been putting in once a month or every other month. And that consistency helps with savings. It helps us with our investments, building our investments. It helps us with building our businesses as well. But to be consistent, we have to commit. Back to number 1, we have to be committed. We have to allow and appreciate the power of compounding and give ourselves enough time for things to take root and for things to move quicker. And then the consistency is the foundation of everything that just helps supercharge whatever we are trying to achieve, whether it's about our physical health, our mental health, whether it's about building relationships. If you think about your most precious relationship, how have you made that such a strong relationship? I would guess it's been about you and the other person or the other people being consistent, checking in on each other, being there for each other when times have been tough. Sometimes you haven't had a solution, but you've just been there for each other. And all of that has helped with the compounding of making your relationships much stronger. And it's exactly the same with money. I'm trying not to say it's not rocket science. There, I've said it. And really, it isn't. It's actually quite simple. The key to it is just understanding how simple it is and running your own race. Running your own race. A lot of times we look at other people and we're thinking, oh my goodness, that person is living in a mansion, they're driving this type of car, they're my age, we're doing the same job, I should have that. And actually, maybe if you just stick to your goals, stay committed to your goals, be consistent, and allow for that compounding to take effect, you might end up surpassing that person. So stay focused on whatever it is you are trying to build, whether it's a financial goal or a physical goal. And remember that your consistency turns your intentions into reality. So important. So those are the 3 principles that I believe we should all follow when we are on any journey, whether it's financial or physical or building relationships. If you found this episode useful or interesting, please do share it with everyone and anyone you know and have the conversation about the 3 C's. I'd also love to know whether you agree that those 3 C's are key to building or are key to reaching any of your goals. And so please comment in the comment section, send me an email. You can email me at info@thewealthconversation.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And finally, I would like to leave you with a few sort of aid memoirs, just to remind you, and maybe you can write these down and stick them up somewhere. I've made a list of these. So the first one is: commitment chooses the path, compounding multiplies the effort, and consistency guarantees the outcome. Commitment chooses the path, compounding multiplies the effort, and consistency guarantees the outcome. Commit to your future. Take small actions daily. Stay consistent through the highs and the lows. Commit to your future. Stay consistent daily and take small actions daily and stay consistent through the highs and the lows. I finally got that out. It is super, super, super important that we keep encouraging each other. So share those little reminders with anyone you feel would benefit from it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episodes. I have got some amazing guests on the show. I will be interviewing Lisa Kelly, who is the founder of Lisa Marie Skincare, a business that she started from a breakthrough that she had whilst she was going through a difficult period in her life. I also have the wonderful Sandra Ade on the show, and we will be talking about the things that influence our habits and our mindsets and how toxic positivity can really be quite dangerous when it comes to our goals and how we stay committed and consistent to our goals. So I look forward to hearing your comments about those episodes and the future episodes. And please do remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Wealth Conversation podcast.